All right, what's up, guys? I was going to jump on and run through this AMD trade I had this morning. Ended up being a really nice win. AMD and INTC and some of the other names that have had these big runs, I've been kind of keeping an eye on them, waiting for some kind of topping action, maybe try and get some short on it. And what kind of kept AMD on my radar is we had this obviously a huge extended move, and yesterday we got our first close below the 10 days. So if you look at this entire move, it never closed once below it. It trended higher the entire time, and then we finally got the close below it yesterday. So to me, that's a change in character. We're starting to see some weakness, so I thought today we'd see some fall through, and I had it on like a back burner watch list. But what I saw that really got me interested was this move. I've talked about it before on other setups. Is basically it's a failed opening drive move. So you have like this imbalance out of the gates of a bunch of buys coming in with their VWAP. So we get a strong opening drive, and what it was doing was it was back testing yesterday's close, and it was back testing the 10-day. It kind of overshot it a little bit, and then we got some heavy selling. And so this setup is what I want to see is a really strong move to the upside, and then a really strong move to the downside with a close back below VWAP. That tells me that sellers are stepping in, they're getting stronger than the buyers, and we're back below VWAP. And when we start to hold below VWAP after a move like this, it oftentimes sets up for another leg lower. Now, obviously, we got some serious continuation on this and turned out to be a really nice trend play. But what I'm looking for in these is I'm looking for the first candle that rejects, closes below the VWAP. And then I like to see it hold below there and consolidate a little bit before getting in the trade, because sometimes you can see these pop below and then rebid, and then it's kind of gets a little choppy from there. Ideally, what you see is a sharp move higher, a sharp move lower, sits just below VWAP, and then it breaks down from there. And so once I saw this close and I saw this backtest VWAP and kind of gets the seller step back into it, I took my short. And then as it was breaking this little pivot low here, I added to my position and trimmed into this down move as we were coming into low day. And a lot of times, especially in this market right now, low day, when a stock breaks it, it gets instant rebidded. So my thought into this was we were consolidating just above it. I added as it was breaking down below this little pivot here, and I was trimming as it was coming through low day. Just in case it was going to get rebidded and bounce back up, I wanted to get some profits off. It ended up working out really nicely, and we got a really nice trend move lower that I trimmed into, and then I trailed the balance with the 10-day I had like a little trailer on. I was just going to see how long it wanted to trend, and it popped up here. And I was going to see what it wanted to do, and it started to come back down. And then I was just using this little pivot here around 398 as my stop, and it ended up popping back up and stopping me out. And so it ended up being a really nice trade. But these opening drive rejections can be really nice for reversal plays. And so this is the executions. We got the sharp move higher. This was yesterday's close, and the 10-day was just above it. So we kind of overshot those levels and then rejected pretty hard. And you see I took my first short here. And as we were breaking this little pivot here, I added to my position and then trimmed into the move as we were coming into the low of day. And then you can see we back tested the 10-day. We're staying pretty weak. The buyers weren't aggressive at all. Even on this little candle here, it seemed very lethargic. So I added to the position as it was starting to break through these pivots here. And then we got the nice flush through low of day. And then as it continued, I trimmed into it and took some more off into 400. Got some off in the mid 390s. And then I was trailing the balance. And as you can see, as it rebidded here through this little pivot, I stopped out on the rest. And then you can see that the market is just so strong that AMD is just below high day now, reclaimed all of this move. But yeah, it was just ended up being a great play. I was kind of looking for this in INTC yesterday. I talked about this a little bit with you guys. So we kind of had the drive in the pre-market just before, like going into the open, and then it rejected really hard and got back below VWAP. So I was watching it here, but it didn't really consolidate. It just continued right away. And I prefer it to consolidate a little bit to give it a little base to break out of, because if you look at this, we already had two pretty wide range candles all the way into this rejection back below VWAP. and I didn't want to chase price in case this got rebitted again, and then would have been in a little bit of a trickier position. I'd rather wait and see it hold below VWAP and then have short as it's coming out of that little consolidation. I didn't want to chase price lower with these two candles already pretty big coming into the rejection here back below VWAP. So I missed this short, ended up playing out well as you can see. And but yeah, this is the general look for this setup that I'm looking for. You know, the sharp opening drive and then the sharp rejection back below VWAP. So that was AMD. Ended up being a really nice win this morning. And yeah, so we'll see where it goes from here. And I also wanted to go over some of the swings. I ended up cutting a few of them. APLD. This is one we were buying back here around 36. Got a nice 2-day sequence. Sold into this. I added some, I think, on this day. And then trimmed some more off into the move. And then ended up stopping out as it broke back below 40 yesterday. So nice trade there. Couldn't get the continuation trend higher from here. But overall, a nice win with APLD. Another one I stopped out of today was NVTS. This was a nice flag pattern here after a big momentum move. Was buying out of this around 18. Got a big follow through the next day. Was trimming into it. And I thought it was going to set up for another flag play here to add into for another leg. But we started breaking below the 10-day, closed below the 10-day yesterday, and then had a sharp move lower where I ended up stopping out around break even on the balance. I still like this chart. I'll keep it on my radar. If it wants to get back above the 10-day and continue flagging, maybe it gives us another look to get back involved. But nice setup there. Nice win. SWKS I'm still in. A little bit choppier, not a lot of momentum out of this one. So we'll see how it wants to play out. I was buying it, I think, in this day here, and then I added on this day, and it's just been a lot of back and forth and chop. And we got a little bit of follow through today, but you know, I'm looking for a bit of a bigger move to trim, you know, ideally 74 or higher. So we'll see how it closes today and see if we can get some continuation, maybe tomorrow or towards the end of the week on SWKS. And right now, if this starts to break back below the trend line, get below the 10-day, I'll end up cutting this. That's kind of how I'm going to manage this going forward. All right, what else do we have here? Microsoft, this is kind of being a bit of a pain. It's flagging well. It's still holding the 10-day. Been trading around this a bunch. I was talking about that on my watch list video on Sunday. I thought today with the gap higher, and the market week with it holding higher, I thought this was going to go today. So, you know, it was popping over 430. I was like, all right, this looks ready to go, maybe back into 440 and get back into this gap here from earnings. Ended up rejecting and now has got a bunch of relative weakness compared to indices. But, you know, it's still holding the 10-day. I still like it, still have it, and just going to see how this plays out over the coming days. The weekly looks great. Clearly some supply here in this area. You see all these wicks coming into this level around 430. If we can clear this area, then we could easily see Microsoft take off. So I'm going to give it some time, let it set up, and see if we can push through that area and get a nice run going. So yeah, Microsoft, a bit of a disappointment so far today. ARM, this looks awesome. I did actually put on a little bit earlier, around 225, I think. Nice momentum play here, and we've been consolidating, building a nice base, putting in higher lows, just getting really nice and tight on the daily and having a nice day today. So I did put on a little bit of a starter, and I'm going to look to add to that if we start to break out of this pattern. I'm looking above 230. I'll probably look to add to it and see if we can get a nice move higher out of this one. But this has been trading very well, and I definitely want to be involved with this one if it starts to take off, because it can move really well. All right, so ARM looking good. What was some of the other ones? INOD, I stopped out of yesterday, I believe. I was buying on this day. Or no, I'm sorry, I bought yesterday, and it turned out to be like a failed breakout. Ended up stopping out. And, you know, it had such a big move, and it's only consolidated for a few days. So I was a little concerned that this could happen. So I played it a little bit tighter. But we came in tested the bottom end of this range and kind of now we're starting to get a little bit of a bid on it. I'm going to keep this on my watch list. If this starts to break out again back around 95, 96, I'll get back involved and see if we can get the breakout from there. So INOD still definitely on the radar. The other name I really like, RVMD. This had positive phase 3 data. That's what this gap and run was from. And it's been basing out now for weeks and getting very tight on the daily. So you can see I got a bunch of alerts set out. I may, if this starts to bid up above this 148 area, I might put on a starter and then look to see, you know, over the coming days, if this breaks out, I'll add to it through the breakout levels here around 150 and 151 is what I'm looking for. So this looks really good, really tight, holding the 10-day. And yeah, hopefully we get some follow through on this one. But that's really all that I have right now. I have a bunch on watch, but a lot of them need more time. So I'll check back in later on in the week and see where these are, where they're at, and see if there's anything else I got back in. All right, I'll catch you guys in the room.